We should be able to make quite an easy makeshift grain dryer, something quite simple.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea. If we did bring the grain in moist and we hadn't made a grain dryer, the Ministry of Agriculture would be breathing down our necks, asking us why we hadn't.
Making a grain dryer will require some ingenuity. After VE Day, a huge rebuilding programme got underway in Britain's bomb-damaged cities. Conventional building materials had been rationed throughout the war and were now even harder to come by.
Hi, Pete. Hi, Colin. How are you?
Conservation Officer Colin Richards has come to help the team improvise.
Well, these are the bits and pieces which should hopefully make the grain dryer. I noticed they're all irregular in shape and size,
yeah,
so
sorry about that.
We're going to have to scratch our heads as to how we can make this old gate our platform to dry the grain on.
Right, OK.
We've got to create a platform with a fire underneath, drive off the moisture, and that's our grain dryer.
The first job is to dig a hole for the fire to sit in. The base of the grain drying platform will be a layer of scrap iron, but it needs to be flattened.
Right. Look, I'll give you a rhythm. Come on. You know the lyrics to Camptown Races? Oh, doo-da-day! Oh, doo-da-day! Perfect. Look at that.
Flat enough for you?
Brilliant, Peter.
In 1945, with the threat of German invasion gone, land defences were broken up, leaving behind handy debris.
Right.
That's perfect, isn't it?
Yeah. This is the type of material that was round in 1945 when they started to dismantle the roadblocks and the checkpoints.
Sure.
And it was a sort of ready source of material. It's recycling at its best.
Good.
Perfect.
Right, well, we'll have some more of this, I think, then, Peter. OK.
The platform will be supported by pillars.
Back my scrub half days. Number 8.
What we're doing is we're separating the fire from the grain, and the bricks act as a radiator, radiating that heat through the grain, drying it, and allowing you to sort of store it without it going mouldy.
The drying surface must be perfectly level to ensure the crop is dried evenly.
You know he's cockeyed, don't you?
We first started out with a whole bunch of scrap metal, blocks of concrete, an old gate, and we're actually attempting to do a very technical thing in reducing the moisture level in grain, and I was really sort of sceptical. But now looking at this, feeling a little bit more confident about getting this grain to the right standard for the Ministry of Agriculture.
John's plan is to measure out 3 pounds of the grain,
There you are.
Yep.
On the nail.
dry it, and then re-weigh it. The amount of weight that's been lost will be the amount of moisture that was in the original grain.
You know, we've just got a set of scales here, and we're doing a very arbitrary test, but surely the Ministry would have had much more high-tech equipment.
Well, they would, but it wouldn't have, because it was in short supply, it wouldn't have been available for all farmers,
Right.
and they've got to kind of, in the war, improvise it as best they can. You can feel the heat in that. That is really drying quite quickly. The grain's beginning to feel different. You feel it?
Yeah.
The team are about to find out how much moisture is in their precious crop.
We have got here 2 pounds and 4 ounces.
The grain has lost around a quarter of its original weight, meaning it had a moisture content of 25%. This would have been too high for the Ministry of Agriculture, who were looking for it to be around 14%.
OK, so we know what we've got to do now in terms of drying on here.
Yeah.
We know the thickness of the bed of grain we need. We know how long we need to cook it on here and what type of heat we need to keep up.
Yeah.
Thing is, we've got a lot of sacks to get through, so I think we should start by getting on with it.
With the makeshift dryer working, the farmers are on course to bring in the crop at a standard the ministry would have accepted.
Back in the day when men were men, Peter.
Right, Peter.
Good, hold fast, man. On it goes. Oh. That's good, that's good. OK.
There's another dozen of them sacks.
How are you feeling about this thing, Colin?
If we do this for sort of half an hour, then I think we'll actually dry this batch.
That's good news. Let's get drying.
You know what this calls for?
Go on.
A beer.
A beer?
A beer.
Oh, my word.
Gee.
Thank you.
The success of the food production campaign went far beyond officials' pre-war plans. Never before had output increased so rapidly in such a short period of time. John Martin is one of the country's leading authorities on wartime farming.
So let's get this straight. If we were to try and sort of rank the battle for food and the battle for harvest, as you call it, up against things like the battle for Britain, Dunkirk or D-Day, we can see it as a success, a victory one.
Oh, I think it was a clear victory. It saved us from malnutrition and really starvation.
Right.
It's a crowning achievement because Britain entered the war with 2/3 of its population being fed on imported food.
As much as it must have been hard, it must have given so many people a purpose.
I think that's very true. It's a neglected story that people committed themselves to a war effort and the countryside committed itself to winning the war.
Yeah. Well, I think we are sitting on the brink of our own victory. Everything seems to be going to plan, so cheers.
Fingers crossed.
Here's to the heroes of wartime farming.
Cheers.
All of them.
Yeah.